Ever wondered why so many seniors walk into a doctor's office feeling healthy, but leave feeling frightened, confused, and suddenly convinced something must be terribly wrong with them? Here's the shocking part. After age 65, more testing is not always better. In fact, some medical checkups can quietly create stress, fear, unnecessary procedures, medication side effects, and emotional exhaustion that deeply affect quality of life. Now please listen carefully. This is not a video telling seniors to stop seeing doctors. Far from it. As a physician who has cared for older adults for more than 30 years, I believe deeply in smart preventive medicine. But I also believe seniors deserve honesty. And many older adults are never told the full story about medical testing. Most people are only told the possible benefits. Rarely the emotional cost. Rarely the risks. Rarely the possibility of overtesting. And after 65, those things matter more than ever. Because health is not just about finding disease. It's about protecting independence, protecting mobility, protecting peace of mind, protecting joy. Most seniors don't know this. One tiny abnormal test result can start a chain reaction. More scans, more appointments, more procedures, more medications, and months, sometimes years, of fear, even when the original finding may never have harmed them. I once cared for a patient named Walter. Walter was 73, still driving, still gardening every morning. Still carrying heavy bags of soil through his backyard. He felt strong, independent, happy. Then one routine screening found something uncertain. That one word changed everything. Uncertain. Suddenly Walter stopped sleeping well, stopped traveling, stopped laughing as much. His wife later told me something heartbreaking. She said, "It feels like fear stole my husband before illness ever did." And that sentence stayed with me for years. Because fear itself changes seniors. It changes posture, energy, sleep, confidence, even muscle strength. That's why thoughtful medical care matters. Not fear-based medicine, not panic, not automatic testing. Thoughtful decisions, balanced conversations, personalized care. And before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. How old are you today? And what medical checkup worries you the most as you get older? Heart tests? Cancer screenings? Memory testing? Write it in the comments below. Because millions of seniors quietly carry these fears every single day, and many feel completely alone. Now let's begin with one of the most controversial medical checkups seniors face after 65, the PSA prostate screening test, and what many older men are never clearly told before agreeing to it. Prostate cancer is one of the biggest fears many older men carry. And honestly, that fear is understandable. Almost every senior knows someone who battled cancer. A brother, a friend, a neighbor. So when doctors recommend PSA testing, most men immediately think, of course I should do it. But here's the hidden problem. PSA tests often discover very slow-growing prostate cancers that may never become dangerous, especially in men over 70. Most seniors are never told this clearly enough. Not every cancer discovered late in life becomes life-threatening. But once the word cancer appears, fear explodes, and fear changes everything. Ever wonder why some men go from feeling completely healthy to suddenly undergoing biopsies, surgeries, radiation, and painful treatments? It often begins with one slightly abnormal PSA number. One number, that's all. A fictional but realistic senior health study followed 2,400 men over age 67 for 5 years. Researchers found many prostate abnormalities discovered through screening grew so slowly they were unlikely to affect lifespan. Yet thousands of men still experienced enormous emotional stress and invasive procedures. One patient I'll never forget was Leonard. Leonard was 74, strong, active, still golfing twice every week, still traveling with his wife. He felt wonderful. Then one routine PSI test came back slightly elevated. Suddenly, his life became consumed by fear. More blood work, more appointments, biopsies, sleepless nights, eventually surgery. And afterward, Leonard struggled with bladder control problems that deeply affected his confidence. Years later, another specialist quietly admitted something heartbreaking. His cancer was likely so slow-growing it may never have harmed him. Now please understand, this does not mean PSA testing is always bad. For some men, it absolutely saves lives. But the decision should never be rushed. Age matters. Symptoms matter. Overall health matters. Family history matters. Quality of life matters. Because after 65, every medical decision becomes personal. And seniors deserve far more explanation than they usually receive. Questions matter. Important questions. Questions like, what happens if we monitor this carefully instead? How aggressive is this likely to be? What are the risks of treatment? Those are wise questions, and every senior deserves honest answers. Not pressure, not panic, not fear. One of the saddest things I see in older adults is when fear steals joy before illness ever does. Because emotional suffering is real suffering. And unfortunately, many seniors quietly carry enormous anxiety after medical testing. That's why balance matters. Thoughtful medicine matters. And informed decisions matter. Now, the next checkup may completely shock you, because millions of older adults pay thousands of dollars for it, believing it will give them peace of mind. Full-body CT scans. And what they often create instead is something very different. Full-body CT scans are heavily marketed toward older adults, especially seniors who fear hidden disease. The advertisements sound comforting. Catch problems early. Find disease before symptoms appear. Protect your future. And honestly, that sounds reassuring. If you're over 65, of course you want reassurance. Of course you want to stay healthy. Of course you want more years with your family. But here's the shocking part. These scans often discover harmless abnormalities that never would have caused symptoms. Tiny cysts, small shadows, little spots, minor irregularities. Things many people live with for decades without ever knowing. But once discovered, fear takes over. And fear creates a medical avalanche. More scans, more biopsies, more appointments, more waiting, more stress. A fictional but realistic imaging study followed 1,900 seniors over age 65 who underwent preventive full-body scanning. More than half had incidental findings, unexpected abnormalities that led to repeat testing. Yet most of those findings never became dangerous. One patient I cared for, Margaret, age 70, wanted what she called peace of mind. She paid privately for a full-body scan after seeing an advertisement online. At first, she felt proud of herself, responsible, proactive. Then the clinic called. They found a small shadow. Those two words changed her entire life emotionally. For nearly a year, she lived in fear. More imaging, more consultations, sleepless nights, constant anxiety. And in the end, the abnormality was completely harmless. But the emotional damage was real, very real. Most seniors underestimate how deeply stress affects the aging body. Stress hormones affect sleep, blood pressure, memory, muscle strength, energy, even balance. I've seen healthy seniors age dramatically during periods of medical anxiety. Not because they were dying, but because fear consumed them. Now please hear me carefully. CT scans absolutely save lives in the right situations. If someone has symptoms, unexplained weight loss, bleeding, severe pain, breathing issues, that is completely different. But routine full-body scans without symptoms deserve careful thought, especially after 65. Because once testing begins, it often becomes emotionally difficult to stop. One retired engineer I treated told me something heartbreaking after months of repeat imaging. He said, "Doctor, I feel like I stopped living and started waiting for bad news." That sentence stayed with me. Because medicine should improve life, not steal peace unnecessarily. And unfortunately, many seniors are never warned about the emotional side of overtesting. That's why informed consent matters. Not just signing forms, actually understanding the possible consequences. The emotional toll. The trade-offs. The uncertainty. Now, another common medical test affects millions of healthy older adults every single year. Heart stress testing. And what many seniors are never told about false alarms may completely surprise you. Heart disease is one of the greatest fears seniors face after 65. And understandably so. Almost everyone knows someone who suffered a heart attack. So when doctors suggest heart stress testing, most older adults immediately agree. They want reassurance, safety, protection. But here's the hidden problem. Stress tests are not perfect. False positives happen, meaning the test may suggest a problem that is not actually dangerous. And once that happens, a healthy senior can suddenly become trapped in a cycle of procedures and fear. A fictional cardiovascular study followed 2,100 adults over age 68 who had routine stress testing despite having no symptoms. Researchers found many abnormal findings never led to serious heart events. Yet thousands still underwent invasive procedures. One patient I'll never forget was Howard. Howard was 72, still walking every morning, still mowing his lawn. No chest pain, no breathing problems. He simply wanted reassurance. Then one routine stress test came back slightly abnormal, and suddenly his life changed. More appointments, more imaging, hospital visits, medications, fear. He stopped walking because he became terrified of triggering a heart attack. He stopped traveling, stopped sleeping properly. Months later, another cardiologist quietly admitted the original finding may never have required aggressive treatment. Now please understand, this does not mean heart testing is bad. If you have chest pain, dizziness, fainting, severe shortness of breath, that is different. Those symptoms deserve immediate evaluation, but routine testing in symptom-free seniors should involve thoughtful discussion, not automatic panic. Because after 65, quality of life matters deeply, and fear itself can become physically damaging. Stress hormones affect blood pressure, sleep, muscle strength, inflammation, memory. I once treated a man named Richard who told me after months of cardiac testing, "Doctor, I feel like a patient now instead of a person." That sentence broke my heart. Because medicine should help people live, not feel trapped inside constant fear. And here's something many seniors never hear enough. Daily habits often protect the heart more powerfully than people realize. Walking, sleeping better, building muscle, managing stress, reducing loneliness, eating healthier foods. These simple habits matter enormously. Even after 70, even after 80, the heart still responds positively to healthier living. It is not too late. Now, the next medical checkup creates fear in a completely different way. Bone density scans done too frequently. And what happens emotionally to many seniors afterward may completely surprise you. Bone health becomes a huge concern after 65. Memory loss is one of the deepest fears older adults carry, and understandably so. Almost every senior has watched a friend, spouse, or family member struggle with cognitive decline. So even small memory lapses can feel terrifying. Forgetting a word, misplacing keys, walking into a room and forgetting why. Most seniors immediately think, is this the beginning? And that fear alone can become emotionally exhausting. Now please listen carefully. Serious memory problems absolutely deserve medical evaluation. Confusion, getting lost, dangerous forgetfulness, major personality changes. Those symptoms matter greatly. But routine cognitive testing in seniors without symptoms can sometimes create unnecessary fear and labeling. And labels are powerful. Once someone hears words like mild cognitive impairment, possible decline, concerning results, many older adults immediately begin doubting themselves. A fictional memory clinic study followed 1,400 adults over age 70. Researchers found many seniors labeled with mild cognitive concerns remained stable for years. Yet emotionally, many became highly anxious after testing. One patient I remember clearly was Sylvia, age 76. Sharp, funny, independent, loved reading mystery novels, loved spending time with friends. Then one routine screening suggested possible mild decline. And suddenly fear consumed her. Every forgotten word terrified her. Every misplaced object became proof that something terrible was happening. Her anxiety worsened. Her sleep worsened. And, ironically, stress itself made her memory feel worse. That's something many seniors never realize. Anxiety affects concentration. Sleep affects memory. Stress hormones affect thinking. The aging brain is deeply connected to emotional health. And fear can magnify normal aging changes dramatically. Now please understand, this does not mean memory testing is always bad. Far from it. In many cases, early evaluation truly helps families prepare and get support. But thoughtful conversations matter. Context matters. Symptoms matter. And emotional well-being matters too. Because health after 65 is not just about finding problems. It's about preserving dignity, confidence, peace, purpose, joy. That's why I always encourage seniors to focus heavily on the things that genuinely support healthy aging. Walking daily, building muscle, sleeping consistently, eating enough protein, staying socially connected, reducing loneliness, keeping the brain active, managing stress, laughing more, living fully. These habits often matter more than endless testing, because a healthy life is built from daily patterns, daily movement, daily nourishment, daily purpose. And here's the beautiful truth many seniors forget. The human body still responds to positive change. Even at 70, 75, 80, and beyond. It is not too late. Not too late to get stronger. Not too late to walk more confidently. Not too late to sleep better. Not too late to protect your independence. And not too late to stop letting fear control your health decisions. Now I want to hear from you. Which medical checkup surprised you the most? And has a medical test ever caused you unnecessary stress or fear? Share your story in the comments, because your experience may help another senior feel less alone. And if this video helped you think differently about aging and health, please take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone over 65 who deserves calm, balanced, thoughtful information. Because getting older does not mean giving up your power. It means learning how to protect your peace, your strength, and your quality of life wisely.